Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have some exciting new news. We are talking about Rory Mcilroy and his new golf coach. Now, it is no secret that Rory Mcilroy has really not been playing that well very recently this year. He hasn't had bad results, but considering he's one of the best players in the world, they have not been at his best, and he has really been struggling with his game. He's been looking for that spark, and he has finally switched coaches, which is pretty big news because Rory Mcilroy had been with his previous coach for over 2 decades, since he was about 8 years old. So that is a pretty huge change to make in your game when you have been with a coach for that long. But he has gone to a world-class coach who has worked with multiple major winners: Henrik Stenson, Sergio Garcia, Brooks Koepka, and many others. He works with Thomas Pieters and loads of other tour players. He has decades of experience on tour, and his name is Pete Cowen. Now, some of you will know who Pete Cowen is. Others of you may not know who he is. He really doesn't like the media. He doesn't like the spotlight being on him at all. He's from Yorkshire here in the UK. And yeah, he doesn't like the media. He doesn't do a huge amount of media appearances, although he has been on Sky Sports a few times. But he is a world-class coach and is out there on tour most weeks, really, with his players, and, you know, has a wealth of experience. So it looks like this is going to be a really good move for Rory. Now, let's briefly talk about why Rory needs this change. He's not been playing well. His swing has been not at its best. Basically, Rory explained that when Bryson came out and he was swinging it and hitting it harder, basically Rory kind of tried to do the same thing. But this actually had an adverse effect on his golf swing. It ended up getting his arms a little bit too deep. So if we take a look at this video of his swing, we can see that at the top of the backswing, he gets those arms very deep. It's then hard to get the club and the arms back out in front of him. They end up kind of dropping down, and he has the club very much coming from the inside, which kind of leads to a bit of a two-way miss. Sometimes it's a overdraw, sometimes it's a push block out right, which obviously isn't ideal either way. So when Rory was playing at his best, he definitely had those arms a little bit more connected to the body at the top, the right elbow. If we look at this video from, I think this is from 5 or 6 years ago when Rory was really playing at his best. If we look at the connection he has with the arms at the top of the backswing, it is pretty incredible. And if we look at this comparison between his swing from 2014 due to 2021, there is a bit of a notable difference. If you look at that right arm, that is much more connected at the top. He's not so across the line either. If you get more across the line, tendency is you're going to then drop the club under plane. So this looks, on the surface of it, to be a good move, but it's a very brave time to make the move. We have the Masters next week. I mean, obviously, Rory has been working with Pete for a few weeks before this, but swing changes, when you've been working with one coach for pretty much your entire golf career, moving coaches and making these swing changes, which are so ingrained into him, is not going to be easy at all. It's going to take time. Things are probably going to get worse before they start to get better. That's just what happens most of the time. If you've ever gone and seen a golf coach in person, most of the time when you then go back out onto the course and try and play golf, you're probably going to get more inconsistent before you actually start to get better, because you need to ingrain those changes. You need to really work on rehearsing them. And Pete Cowen, I've listened to some podcasts he's done. I've seen him on some forms of media from what he has done. And, he has a very good approach to the game of golf. I would describe him as quite a practical guy. He definitely understands things in more of a practical way. He thinks very kind of practically in terms of he likes to think about how the body's moving, not just how the club's moving, but how the body's moving, which most good golf coaches do nowadays. They focus on the body because the body moves the club. And, you know, he thinks about things in a very good way. He has this spiral staircase mentality to the golf swing, where basically everything coils up around this kind of central axis on an angle. So it works a bit like a spiral staircase, coiling from the ground up, and basically rotates on that axis and shifts kind of weight pressure throughout the swing. So, you know, he coaches some incredible ball strikers such as, you know, Brooks Koepka, Sergio Garcia, Henrik Stenson. These guys are serious strikers of the ball. So it is not surprising that he is a very, very good coach. Just a little bit of backstory on Pete. He described himself as the best quick fix coach in the UK. That's like his origin story, if you will. He basically, you know, became the best quick fix coach. So you could go and see him and you'd walk away and you'd be hitting it way better. Obviously, quick fixes are what most people go to a golf coach for. Most people don't have golf lessons every single week. You know, golf pros are obviously working day in, day out with their coaches, but most people don't do that. We go when our game's not very good, and, you know, we walk out and want it to be as good as possible. And that was how he made a reputation and a name for himself. And then he started getting some players and working from there. Also, apparently, Michael Bannon, who is Rory Mcilroy's original, basically only coach, he will apparently be staying as part of the team. I think this is quite a smart move from Rory. You know, if you've had a coach for 20 years, he's taken you to the top of the rankings. You've won however 3 majors and, you know, have had a lot of success with him. I think it would be silly to, you know, just completely get rid of him. So it looks like Michael Bannon will still be part of Rory's team, along with Pete Cowen, and obviously then you've got his manager, physio, trainers, etc. You know, etc. So this is really good to see. I think that's definitely a good decision. But how is Pete going to turn Rory's game around? That's what we kind of want to know. What changes are they going to work on in, you know, Rory's game? So apparently Henrik Stenson first went to Pete when he wanted more control over his driving and his tee shots. And this could be a reason that Rory has gone to Pete, and this could be something Pete wants to kind of focus on with Rory, is getting control back with the longer clubs. Rory is such a long driver of the golf ball anyway, even before, you know, Bryson DeChambeau started hitting it harder and everything like that. He was always one of the longest in the world. I've seen him in person. He's not a big guy, by the way. He's not tall, but he's very powerful, launches the ball exceptionally high. And, you know, one of the best drivers in the world. So if you have control with your driver and you're already one of the best drivers in the world, that's automatically going to boost your scores a huge amount. But actually, the thing that's really interesting when we look at Rory's stats, so in driving accuracy, he's 142nd in driving accuracy, only finding 57% of fairways. But in 2014, he was 108th and finding 59% of fairways. So not a huge drop off there. It's not like he was number one, now he's fallen way down. But obviously, I'm sure he'd like to see that improve. From 70 to 100 yards, Rory is world number 11, by the way. He averages 22 feet and 11 inches from the hole, which is 198th in the rankings. That's not very good, especially when you're a good long driver of the golf ball. You're going to be hitting a lot of short wedges. So if he was like number one in the world for wedges, you know, he'd probably be winning almost every week. And obviously he'd have to convert and hold those putts too. But if he can noticeably improve his wedge and approach game, this is going to, you know, have a huge effect on his overall scoring. He's going to be having much shorter birdie putts and everything to the hole. So he also averages 319 yards off the tee, which is the third longest on the PGA Tour. I believe this is behind Bryson DeChambeau, and I think it's Tony Finau, number 2. However, the most kind of not very good stat, I guess, is that his approach play from the middle of the fairway. So when he's on the fairway, his approach play, he's currently ranked 103rd in proximity to the hole from the short grass, averaging 32 feet. In 2014, he was ranked 6th, averaging 28 feet. Now, that probably doesn't sound like a huge difference, averaging 4 feet better. I would say, obviously he was ranked 6th. I would say the stat, the quality of golf has probably increased since then on the PGA Tour. I would say, it's probably more competitive than it was in 2014, with a lot of these young guys coming out and constantly hitting the ball further, harder, and being better overall golfers. But overall, that 4 feet can make a huge difference, because that's an average of 4 feet. So, you're going to be hitting quite a few shots closer for some really close birdie looks. And I used to remember Rory used to hit some incredible iron shots back when he was at the top of his game. So, Pete Cowen, it will be a bit of a test to understand why Rory, fails to find his target from these positions. I'm sure Pete will, already have a really good understanding of how Rory moves in the golf swing. I'm sure even before they started working together, he would have seen his golf swing a huge amount. And I'm sure he'll, be keeping things quite simple as well, probably working on just a few very simple fundamentals in Rory's swing. This isn't going to be a huge change like it was with Tiger multiple times when he's changed his swing. This isn't going to be I don't think it's going to be a huge change to Rory's game. It will probably be something that I wouldn't be surprised if he struggles for the next few months, but towards the end of this year, early next year, I'd expect him to, be back on the rise. So make sure you do watch out for that. I'm super excited for the Masters, by the way. I hope you guys are too. I'm going to be dropping a video in a day or two's time, basically going through my picks for the Masters, who I would choose. So if you haven't seen that, check that out, and it will be up on my channel soon if you are watching this video when it is released. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It's certainly an interesting topic. I do love looking at Rory's golf swing, and these top golf coaches are pretty incredible. So, as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, comment your thoughts down below. As always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Grip it and rip it.